Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This committee on rules shall come to order. We passed out the minutes of the March 16, 2015 rules meeting, and I'll entertain a motion that we accept these minutes subject to correction. Okay, it's been moved and second. There are no objections, so ordered. I'll ask the deputy clerk to take roll.
Chairman Respicio.
Present.
Senator Tom Atta. Speaker Wampat. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Uggan. Senator Rodriguez. Senator San Nicolas. Senator Underwood. Senator Tony Atta.
Present.
Senator Torres. Chairman Respicio, there is a quorum.
Thank you, and I'll entertain a motion that we excuse those senators not present for this rules meeting. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. There are no objections, so ordered. Under item 3, document tracking, there's a listing just for your information of all the documents that's been received by both the speaker and our legislative secretary, and that there's some rules and regs that are time sensitive, so just take note of that. On item 4, ratification of referrals, I'll need a motion that we ratify the referrals that I made for bill numbers 54-33 through bill numbers 83- to bill number 83-33. It's been moved and seconded. Again, there's no objection, so ordered, as well as the appointments. Moved and seconded again. Again, there are no objections, so ordered. And resolutions. It's been moved and seconded again. There are no objections, so ordered. Item 5, session agenda. I'll go around the room and entertain motions to place bills, resolutions, or appointments on the agenda. I'll begin with Speaker Wampan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I spoke with Chairman San Nicolas on my bill 58, which is the mileage for our school children. So I'd like to make that motion to place it on the agenda.
Okay, on her motion to place Bill 58 on the agenda, and it's whatever version comes out of Senator San Nicolas's committee.
Thank you. I will also.
It's been moved and
sorry.
second. There are no objections, so ordered.
I also like to place 2 resolutions. Resolution 39-33, and that's relative to petitioning the United States Congress to amend the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act to include Guam.
Okay.
And the second is 52-33, and that's relative to urgently petitioning the United States Congress to increase the annual appropriation of Compact Impact Aid to from $30 million to $185 million in support of congressional bills that have been introduced.
Okay, on the speaker's motion for resolutions 39 and 52, and she did conduct a public hearing.
Yes,
so
and we have the committee
yeah.
report. And lastly,
no objections, so ordered.
And lastly, I'd like to place the nomination of Joaquin Santos Jr. as a member of the University of Guam Board of Regents.
Okay, on the motion to place Joaquin Santos on the agenda, no objections, so ordered.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to place on the agenda Bill 62-33. It's relative to required experience for professional engineers, professional architects, and professional land surveyors, and clarifying processes for applicants. The bill did have a public hearing and has been reported out of committee.
Okay, on Senator Atta's motion to place Bill 62 on the agenda, there are no objections, so ordered.
I would also like to move for the placement of the following appointments to the Guam Land Use Commission. The appointment of Mr. Tae O. The appointment of Ms. Conchita D. Bathan. And the appointment of Mr. Lawrence Rivera.
Okay, on that motion for those 3 appointments,
And then
any objections, so ordered.
And then the appointment, and to similarly place on the agenda the appointment of Brigadier General Roderick R. Leon Guerrero as the Adjutant General for the Department of Military Affairs.
Okay, on that motion, no objections, so ordered.
And finally, to place on the agenda the appointment of Mr. Stephen Carrara as a member of the Guam Environmental Protection Agency Board of Directors.
Okay, on that motion as well, there are no objections, so ordered.
Okay, that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vice Speaker.
I'd like to place on the agenda Bill 66 relative to providing the startup funds for the pre-K NGDOE.
Okay, on the Vice Speaker's motion, there are no objections, so ordered. Do you have any appointments? Okay. Senator Rogan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move for the placement of Bill number 56-33, which is relative to recognizing the independence of the judiciary of Guam relative to the receipt of federal funds.
Okay, on Senator Rogan's motion to place Bill 56-33 on the agenda, there are no objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have any no appointments? No. Okay, Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A motion to place Bill number 60-33 on the agenda. It's an act to repeal and reenact Chapter 11, Title 2, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Guam Tax Commission.
Okay, on Senator Nicholas's motion for Bill number 60-33, there are no objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And also, I'd like to place the nomination of Tony Blas on the agenda for confirmation and consideration by the body.
Okay, on that motion, there are no objections, so ordered. Okay, Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, I move to place Bill 52-33, which is an act to provide for entry into the classified service of the government of Guam for certain positions of the Guam and Water Hospital Authority.
Okay, on the motion to place 52 on the agenda, no objections, so ordered.
And also the executive appointments of Mr. David John to serve on the GITA board, Mr. George Chu, and Mr. Edward Calvo.
Okay, on that motion, not objections, so ordered. Okay, do you want to bring up that time-sensitive bill?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have two other bills that are rules and regs that were submitted by the Department of Public Health and Social Services. We had two public hearings on it, and I believe the 90 days timeline is approaching in beginning of May, and that is Bill 45-33 and also Bill 52-33. They both deal with, one deals with the requirements of health certificates, issuance of health certificates, and the other one are rules and regulations regarding the inspections of workforce housing. So if there is time, if I would like to ask the body to consider if we can hear that. If not, we're going to have to look at other options to see how we can do an action through legislative resolution to perhaps stop the clock from running. But the bills are ready, and I believe they've been filed.
Okay, is there
What is the intent of the chair of the committee? Are you looking at stopping the process, or are you looking at amending the rules?
The substitute versions are ready. It's just that we're limited to placements on the agenda, right? So I just want to bring that to the body's attention.
I guess the question is, the follow-up question would be, are the amendments significant enough where you feel that allowing the rules and regs to lapse into policy is something that you would want to prevent?
or do you have an amendment
Yes.
on
No,
both?
there is substantial amendments that were made on both. So it's either we deal with it, or we do a legislative resolution to stop, if that's even an option.
Well, earlier your vice chair offered
If there's slots,
one of those positions for. So up to two, which one?
they're both were submitted at the same time. So
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you
that's
very
where
much.
we were headed in this
Okay.
discussion, so. Okay, there's a motion by Senator Rodriguez to place those two bills. What's the bill numbers
Bill
again?
45
Okay.
and Bill 52.
Okay, Bill 40.
I'm sorry, no, 53.
Okay, good. Bill 45 and Bill 53. There are no objections.
Thank you very much,
So ordered.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have the list for Senator Barnes or Senator Underwood? Okay, we'll make sure we get to that before we adjourn, but I'll recognize Senator Tony Adams.
Thank you,
Minority.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I just have two requests and the first one is to place Bill 5933,
Okay,
and
what's
that's
the
from
title?
Senator Mary Torres, and that's an act to amend subsection 6111B and to add a new subsection 611D, 611E, and 611F, all of Chapter 6, Title 19, GCA, and this is relative to the personal relations and community property.
Okay.
5933.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's resolution.
And that's the relative to personal relations and community property.
Okay, on that motion, there's no objection, so ordered.
And then we got another request from Senator Morrison, and this is on Bill 6433. And this is to providing public broadband internet services in the village community centers. And I believe this was heard last night on the...
I'm going to defer to the chairman of jurisdiction.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Minority Leader and Mr. Chairman. There were a lot of issues that were brought up with that bill in the hearing, so we're not ready to report that bill out for this session.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Torres?
Yeah.
Okay. Senator Ada, could you make a motion for me for... Okay, I'll recognize Senator Ada to make a motion on my behalf for my bill.
So, Mr. Chairman, I move to place Bill 32-33 to be placed on the agenda. It's an act relative to the demolition of the Manuel F.L. Guerrero Administration Building.
Okay, on that motion, no objections, so ordered. Okay, I want to get Senator Barnes'
Yeah, I'm trying
There
to
was-
find which resolution number was that. And
she also had a bill. Yeah, her request.
but, well, this is a bill, but there's also a resolution that needs to be acted on. Foster care. Property for the foster care.
Okay, I'll entertain a first motion for her bill.
So I move,
14.
Mr. Chairman, to place Bill 14-33 on the agenda. It's an act relative to empowering the courts of Guam to depart from applicable mandatory minimum sentences under specific conditions and for other purposes.
Okay, on the motion to place Bill 14-33, no objections, so ordered.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place resolution number 21-33 relative to identifying suitable lot for the Department of Public Health and Social Services, identifying a suitable lot from the Chamorro Land Trust inventory for the Department of Public Health and Social Services construction of a foster home.
Okay, on that motion, resolution number 21.
Also, I would just like to say that in companion with this, really the transfer of land, as I understand it, should be effectuated through law as opposed through resolution. And so a bill is being drafted which takes the substance of this resolution, put into bill form, and would be presented at the session to be accepted for discussion.
Okay, if you have a bill at that time, we can entertain it under motions, as you suggested. But on the motion, first to place resolution 21 on the agenda, there are no objections, so ordered.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just suggest that there's 3 time-sensitive bills, 2 from Senator Rodriguez and then this one, and that somehow, I guess, this should be put at the top of the agenda, so that anything could happen, and at least we would have had that disposed of.
Okay, there's a motion that we order the agenda, that the top 3 time-sensitive bills be placed in numerical order. Then following that, every bill will be placed numerically on the agenda. There are no objections, so ordered. Thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you.
I'm going to call just a brief recess so we could hear from Senator Underwood's Chief of Staff. Heard from Senator Underwood's Chief of Staff, and she has no bills, resolutions, or appointments that are pending with the committee report. So we can move on to open discussion. If there are none, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn, subject to the call of the chair. It's been motion that we adjourn, subject to the call of the chair. There are no objections.
No objection.
So ordered. Have a great weekend. Or adjourned.
Nine? Yeah.
I just got a letter from him now because I was waiting for the documents.
I did think I'm trying to figure out if somehow with the old staff here to verbally vote.
Yes, you did.
I would tell you, I would do that. I would put a red mark in front and say, red flag.
But we'll make sure the committee reports file.